welcome.
It's the last of the March box.
It's fine. After March, April is coming.
Drip, drip, drop, little April showers. It's going to be a good box. Well, more on that in a minute. Welcome back.
Welcome. And good evening.
Yeah, it is a good evening.
But good morning if you are watching us next day.
And there are lots of Americans who watch us in America now at remember, Nina often is here.
Yeah.
She watches us
Nina,
10 in
what
the
time
morning.
is it? Nina, are you there?
If she's not there, she's watching this later, and we're very disappointed. So yes, welcome back. As always, before we begin, we need to do some housekeeping. This is the last opportunity, well, more or less, for you guys to possibly win a fancy bottle of wine. This is the prize of this month. A very sexy bottle called Clio, which we've talked about a lot over the years.
This is a Jumilla wine. It's not 100% Monastrell. It has a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. I don't know the proportions.
I don't know. I think
but it has Cabernet.
It's got a bit of Cab Sav in there as well, and it's 16% alcohol.
It's probably one of the best wines. Well, it is probably the best wine of Jumilla, but one of the best wines in the country.
I think we've talked about this. We had the top of this winery at last Christmas, and it maybe is the best red wine we've both ever had. But anyway, so if you wanna be in the very exclusive club of people who have tasted Clio, you have a chance. How do they do it? How can they win it?
Well, it's that simple as upload a picture of this wine we are going to taste today. Upload it to your social networks. It can be Twitter, can be Facebook, TikTok, can be Instagram. Tag us, otherwise we couldn't notice if you have done it.
Yeah, we have to see it.
Yeah,
it's very important.
And that's all. You're in. And next, in the tasting of the first wine of the next box, we will know which is the winner. So
I know for a fact your sister really wants to try and win this.
Yeah. The problem is that she already has tasted, she knows how precious is that price.
She's basically trying to not give us money.
She's trying to try again that wonderful wine.
So if you want to beat Eva, anyway, who have we got here? Pablo, and now something completely different. Let's get knowledge. This man's absurd. Pablo, you're an absurd man. So yes, that is the prize on offer this month. So today we have to have our final wine, and we're taking a trip to the islands.
Yes, we have been in Canary Islands already. We were there with the Malvasia Semidulce de Bermejo.
Volcanic, yeah.
And now we are traveling to
one of my favorite places in Spain. Mallorca. Not because I go to Magaluf, no, but it is paradise.
It's not. It's jumping through the balcony.
It's British people go, I think I can fly. And then
what is the attraction of British people to balconies?
It's called natural selection. That's why we offer cheap flights to these people. It helps us thin the population.
It cannot be cheaper than that flight.
No.
That last flight.
What's your favorite color? I don't know. You can have a free flight. Here's a balcony. Yeah. So yes,
do we have balconies in UK?
No, they're illegal.
Self-protection.
When we see a balcony, we just go, must jump. We just launch ourselves off. Yes, if you don't know what we're talking about, Google balconing and you'll see. So we're drinking a wine from the islands, a Mallorca wine. This is nice.
Castell de Santueri.
Yeah, we've got the photo there. Castell de Santueri.
Yeah. We are drinking this beautiful wine. And, well, it's a wine that I'm very excited. I discovered it. And
I mean, you didn't discover it. Jose Manuel left the bottle and we tried it.
So it's Castell de Santueri.
I discovered it. Yeah, they use the French word here, which is
Yeah.
weird. But then Mallorca is a weird place.
Yeah.
Full of Germans and
It's more German than any
it's
other.
a German territory.
Well,
basically,
Ibiza and Formentera are Italian. Mallorca is German.
with a sprinkling of drunk British people on every island.
Yeah, it's the southern part of Germany.
Southern Bavaria.
Southern
Oh, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Salud to the end of the lovely March box. That's very pleasing. Now, there's a lot going on today.
Dark bomb.
We've got all right. We've got 2 videos for you today. We've got Englishmen. We've got weird grapes. There's a lot going on today. So first of all, let's do our tasting first, and then we'll dive right in.
So, wine.
Correct.
Castell?
It is wine. All right.
Castell de Santueri.
The Castle of the Sanctuary. I guess that's Mallorquin, Santueri,
Yeah,
or Latin? No,
Santueri.
Castell
We
de
will talk about that later.
weird stuff.
Vintage,
2018. This one.
2018. Grapes.
Well, this is well, it gets a bit ridiculous.
Sit down.
So, who's standing up?
I don't know.
I always watch Madrid and Daracot standing up. So there is a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon in here, and you think, okay, Cabernet Sauvignon, I know that grape. No. The 2 main grapes here have brilliant names. One is Callet, C-A-L-L-E-T, Callet. The other one, which sounds very romantic in Spanish, Manto Negro, which is like the black tablecloth rubbish. in
No,
English.
this is sería mantel. Manto is more a cloth.
Okay, black cloth. Sounds weird. Manto Negro. Sounds
Yeah, but
lovely.
manto is closer to manta.
Like a shawl, you'd wear it.
Yeah.
Manto Negro sounds better in Spanish. And these are 2 autochthonous varieties. So you have Manto Negro, Callet, and a little bit of Cab Sav. More on those grapes later.
Yes. Alcohol content. Not that much. 13.5.
Yeah, 13.5. Sorry if you wanted to get drunk quickly today.
Producer.
Well, this is where it all gets confusing. So, we'll talk more about the bodega in a minute. In theory, this is Terra de Falanes, which is... Do I have a little thing here for you? Maybe I don't. I don't think I do. Aha, here we go. This one here, Bodega logo. If you put Bodega logo, this is, in theory, the winery that we're drinking now, Terra de Falanes. But, as I'll explain later, this is actually more of a small project of a bigger, more famous winery called Anima Negra, but we'll talk about that later. But in theory for this, it's Terra de Falanes.
Perfect. And region, this is a Vino de la Tierra, IGP, Indicación Geográfica Protegida, Illes Baleares.
Illes Baleares.
Illes Baleares.
So-
Islas Baleares.
Yes, this is...
But
well,
in Catalan is Illes Baleares. Oh, it's not Catalan.
Mallorquin.
Oh. Sorry.
I once angered a Valenciano by saying Valenciano is just Catalan. They're like, no, Valenciano is like, no, it's Catalan.
Wow.
I mean, we like to make jokes about the Catalans, but it is Catalan. But Mallorquin is a bit different, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Compared to Catalan, I think.
It has different words and some pronunciations
Yeah.
are different, yeah.
But yeah, so Illes Baleares. But the
Illes-
Balearic Islands, again, more on that later.
Sounds more Portuguese.
Right.
Well, visual.
Not very dark.
Not very
light.
dark. So medium body.
Yep. Little.
It's not that
There's a touch.
blue. It's not that purple. It's more
It's a little
orangey.
bit orangey, isn't it? I suppose it is, what, 3 years old now? Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's a pretty classic red wine color. The beauty here is in the nose. I think.
Clean and clear.
Clean and clear, like my driver's license.
Yeah, it was.
You were gonna say something else?
No.
Yeah, you disgusting man. Very spicy. Spicy, balsamic-y.
But it has something smoky. It's like
There's
a
some
cigar.
smoky, yeah, there is some smokiness, there's some woodiness. This has had, only had 6 months in oak. French and American oak.
It's very complex.
It reminds me a little bit of the Madrid Garnachas. like
Yeah.
dusty, spicy smokiness.
Reminds me a little bit 30.000 maravillas.
Yeah. And fruits, I'm getting like plums and cherries. It's very similar to like Madrigal Nutta.
But black fruit.
Crispy, zingy,
It's fresh.
but it's got a good bit of tannin still. It's still got a nice bit of grip.
Very well integrated tannins.
Very well integrated tannins.
Yeah.
Now my foot,
I like it.
My foot still hurts, but today I'm not going to drink a whole bottle of wine.
But still have these flavors of candied fruit. You know, it's like it's goloso. On the same
It's like eating a handful of dry cranberries. Do you know what cranberries are?
Yes, of course.
It's like that. Like kind of dried fruit.
You know what? It's a very gastronomic wine.
Son of a... Right, what's next?
Well, pairing. We have been.
You have been... Oh.
Here we have some manchego cheese. And you know what is this?
I mean, I do. We've got a video about it, for goodness sake. This is a product which... Okay, I know everything about Spanish food. It's my favourite thing. And about a month or two ago, Roque told me about a product called arrope, which is this wonderful thing here. And then we got sent some, and we got some for the shop. I had never heard about it before, and I thought arrope, for those of you who are English speaking, just means like syrup. So I thought arrope was just like syrup. Didn't realize it's quite a complicated product. So now we sell it in our little gastronomic section.
Yeah.
And then so Roque's put some on some manchego cheese.
Gourmet corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be even more stuff coming.
But well, this comes from my hometown actually, and it's been it's a privilege, Ginés Zamora, to have your arrope here, and they have sent to us a video explaining how it's made.
It's really interesting. So this is not wine, but this is Spanish food.
Campoflor es una pequeña empresa familiar dedicada a la agricultura y a la producción de miel y arrope, ubicada en el campo de Cartagena, Murcia. Actualmente somos la quinta generación dedicada a la apicultura. Con el paso de padres a hijos hemos ido ampliando la actividad, siendo la segunda generación que comercializa con la marca Campoflor. En 1985 decidimos ampliar nuestra actividad con un producto típico de la zona, el arrope, ya que producimos la mayoría de sus ingredientes. El arrope es un postre típico tradicional que en su elaboración cuenta con una base líquida dulce, compuesta por mosto, azúcar y miel. Por otro lado, se elabora con productos de temporada, como membrillo, higos, calabacín o melón, siendo la base principal la calabaza de nuestra propia cosecha, debido a su disponibilidad durante todo el año. Para su elaboración, en primer lugar, debemos pelar y trocear la fruta. Después la llevamos a cocción con los ingredientes de la base líquida, como son el mosto, el azúcar y la miel.
Después de varias horas de cocción, ya le hemos dado el punto final al arrope. El caldo se debe de quedar con esta textura Y el casco, pues no sé si se puede apreciar, que se queda crujiente. Una de las formas con que se puede presentar el arrope es con helado de turrón, con flan, con piña, melocotón, a gusto del consumidor.
Hello.
Fade.
Hello.
Sorry, I was eating.
So that was arrope, and it matched perfect our cheese.
It was really good.
Yeah, we ate it while we watched the video. So if you want one of these magical, mystical desserts from the south of Spain, available in our shop.
I like my dad says, bees mean honey. These are PhD scientists.
Yeah.
Bees mean honey. So yeah, because I thought it was like a honey. It was honey mixed with sugar, fruit,
and grape
mosto.
juice. Grape
So
juice.
what I would love to know, we need to ask them. I wonder if they would ever try and do an arrope de vino tinto. Maybe use red wine. Lots to cover now.
So let's go for the grapes, to talk about the grapes.
Yeah, so this is we've got a couple of different grapes here. Obviously Cab Sav, everyone knows. Manto Negro and Cayet are both autochthonous varieties. So this bad boy, this is Manto Negro, our black cloth. Not a very dark grape, you can see, it's quite sort of pale colour. It's actually, as a grape, very similar in how it behaves to Garnacha. In aromas, in body. So you could argue maybe this is the Garnacha of Mallorca. It's not generally a very expressive variety though. It's not a huge, big, punchy one. It's got pretty good alcohol, so most of the alcohol work in these kind of Mallorca wines is brought from the Manto Negro, but it's quite a non-aromatic grape compared to some other ones. So it's fairly light-bodied, it's smooth, and it's often blended with its sister grape, Cayet. This is Cayet.
This is Cayet.
Okay, old Cayet.
Welcome, Cayet.
So Cayet is a little bit darker, maybe, in colour. This grape actually originates in I can't speak the words. I'm having a breakdown. Filanic, which is where this wine is made, and Cayet is from there. This is an aromatic variety, medium-bodied, not too heavy. My favourite, actually, I'm not going to mention Jancis Robinson because we have a video from the winery, and my favourite person, Jancis Robinson, is mentioned, so I'll leave that for Martin to tell you about. But these are these two grapes. There's quite a lot of grapes on the islands. There's also Fogoneu is another one as well. There's quite a lot of cool. You always find this with islands. You find these grapes that have been sort of left there, and they're still there. Where our wine is from is where, and this winery itself is where you find a lot more trying to push the local varieties, because on the islands you do find a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, the generic ones. So there's not much information to tell you really, apart from that. But these interesting points. These are kind of medium-bodied, spicy local grapes.
Do you know if they work other grapes in this winery?
Yes, they also have a white called Premsal Blanc.
Ooh. Everything very linked to the heritage.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's that American phrase? If you've got it, flaunt it, which is from the producers, I think. You've got all these interesting varieties. Now, that's not to say they are the best grapes. They may be more difficult to work. There are other ones. I'm sure you'll tell us a nice list of grapes afterwards. But this winery, their white, this particular project, I should say, Terra de Falanes, their red is these three, and the white is a Premsal Blanc. There's a white version of Castell with the same idea, but just with a blue label. Arrope is also beautiful with some vanilla ice cream on a side, or a spoon on the liquid on a hot. Oh yeah.
Oh, mixed with milk.
That's a ridiculous milkshake. Wow, that sounds sweet. Now, should I talk about the winery a little bit?
Yeah, we have. Probably. I mean, if you are used to visit Spanish wine stores, probably you recognize this bottle of wine. It is very popular in a lot of wine stores and restaurants. It's called Anima Negra.
So yeah, this is the thing. The winery itself, the actual bodega, is Anima Negra. Now, this was set up by these two friends, Pere and Miquel. This particular project, we've got a photo of Miquel and Pere, I think. This is Miquel and Jordi, because apparently Pere is quite camera shy. So the wines we're drinking, on the left there you've got Jordi. Jordi is the winemaker himself of this, he's the enologist. And the other guy is Miquel Angel. Now, Miquel Angel and his friend Pere, they set up Anima Negra in 1994 with the aim of working with local varieties as much as possible. Sorry, just laughing. This photo of Miquel. This is the photo that says, "I have your daughter." And I will... Lovely guy. And these guys are in Felanich, which is in southern eastern Mallorca, near the town of Manacor. And Manacor, do you know who is famous and from Manacor?
Yes.
Who?
A tennis player called Rafa Nadal.
That was my fun fact, and you knew it. That's really annoying. So Anima Negra have their base range, which is the Anima Negra, the AN, and there's an AN, which is the top one. They're very nice. This is their little Balearic side project. I don't necessarily know why, but the idea, I guess, was to make a little homage to a local landmark of the town, which is the famous, it's not famous, it's not famous at all, but the Castell de Santueri. So the Castell de Santueri is this beautiful building, which is just on the outskirts of the town. It's about 15-minute drive away, look at that. So I guess this range was supposed to be a bit of a more fun nod to this kind of local landmark. I'm sure these wines could be Anima Negra wines, but Anima Negra was already an established sort of brand, and this is their little side project, Terra de Falanes, the lands of... Do you know Miquel Barceló?
Of course.
He was the one who called this area Terra de Falanes. Oh. So it's kind of a little homage to all of that kind of stuff. And I was really happy to meet Martin, who is an Englishman, who sent us a nice little message.
Hi there. I want to tell you a little bit about our project, Terra de Flanich, which is the project by Anima Negra in Mallorca. And this is a project of wines from indigenous grape varieties that we started making in Mallorca a few years ago. We're also making wines in Montsant. As you can see, this Yenca Plana. We make Cava Tutumba, and also a centenary Ganache called Getiekis, the pirate wine. And we're also, the two principal wines in Mallorca is the Castell de Santueri, which is the regional cooperative of the island in Felanich, the southeast of Mallorca. And this project is all about indigenous local grapes, grown in the right areas where they should be grown, and making the most natural wines possible. The Castell de Santueri Rouge 2018 is a wine made from Cayet, the principal main grape for making red and also white wines in Mallorca, with some Montenegro and a small amount of Cabernet Sauvignon. These make really elegant, fresh wines. Everything's hand-picked in small crates, goes across a selection table, through an optical grape machine to make sure only the finest grapes go into the blend. We're making this wine a Roble style, so it's got a little bit of oak. These are barrels that we've previously used for the Anima Negra wines, the AN and AN2. Stays in oak between 6 and 9 months depending on the vintage. The 2018 was 8 months in oak. Gives a very subtle touch of high quality oak to the lovely fruit. And the Cayet grape is a grape which has similarities with Pinot Noir. It's got a thin skin, really good lovely red fruit, Jancis Robinson named the Cayette in her reference to all the great writers of the world, the Pinot Noir of the Mediterranean. So I suggest you check it out at Madrid and Daracot. It's in their special pack this month of March 2021. Look forward to getting your feedback and when you've tasted the wine, along with our other wines in the future too. Okay, ciao for now, bye.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you very much.
So, two things to point out. First of all, Eva has said, I love the name of the cava, Cava tu tumba, which I didn't know what it meant. And Rocky explained to me, it means dig your own grave.
Yes, it's a great name.
Bit bleak.
I love those word games with kavas, Kava Sutra,
Kava Sutra.
Kava Tutumba.
Kava tutumba. Also, Martin, by the way, he's my Englishman in Mallorca, although he actually lives in Huesca. He was here this morning. I finally got to meet Martin. He lives in Huesca because they have a project in Calatayud as well. They also have a project in Montsant, which you may have seen the bottle. Oh, do we sell that? Yes, we do. €9.80, available online. But earlier I asked Martin, so what's your job? So Pere is in charge of the viñedos. Miquel is like the crazy guy as well, in charge of the bodega, the founders. Jordi's the winemaker. And he said, I'm the tea boy. He makes the teas. No, he said that, but he's also in charge of the project and export. So when you find their wines, let's say in a shop in London, you can thank Martin, he lived in Huesca for like 17 years.
Wow, that's a lot.
I mean,
He's more Spanish than you.
I mean, that's not hard. So yes, really cool project, really cool people, really passionate people. And it's just a fun thing, basically. Right, now we need to have a quick talk about what the hell's going on with this weird Vino de la Tierra.
Yes, well, Vinos de la Tierra are not exactly denominaciones de origen, are lower in terms of...
on the pyramid, isn't it?
Yeah, in the pyramid of qualities, it would be like a step under the DOs, but don't let this affect your approach to these wines, because probably you will find amazing wines from Vinos de la Tierra, and you can find crap wine from DOs, €1 in the supermarket that you cannot use even for cooking. Yeah, am I wrong?
Absolutely correct.
So Vinos de la Tierra are those regions created by the regional governments, and they have normally they tend to have more flexible rules than DOs. So it's the perfect place for these young wineries to explore, experiment new kind of wines, explore new varieties, new blends, new agings. I mean, or maybe they can they don't want to belong to the DO just because they don't want to. So you can also find traditional wines. But in this case, I think that there is more, or like in Baleares, the two DOs that we have, Plaillevant and the other one is Binissalem. They don't cover the whole territory of the islands.
But did you know there's 6 Vinos de la Tierra?
Yes, because you have Formentera, you
Well,
have Ibiza.
Show them this. This is insane. In just 4 little islands.
Yeah, so here you have.
It's crazy.
In Formentera, there are 2 wineries.
There's 2 wineries. One on, they can shout hello to each other.
Yeah, and they hate each other.
They hate each other. It's like Romeo and Juliet.
No, they don't.
Well, we don't know that.
But as you can see, there is a lot of wine there. So these 2 DOs, they don't cover the whole spectrum of wine you can enjoy from the islands. So it's more convenient to belong to one of these Vinos de la Tierra to, explore more areas.
What I'm interested, and I forgot to ask Martin this earlier, so I'm annoyed at myself. So you can see on the map you have Vino de la Tierra de Menorca, Mallorca, the Sierra de Tramontana,
Yeah.
Ibiza and Formentera. So this one is Vino de la Tierra de Islas Baleares. So I forgot to ask him, like, why not just Vino de
something
la Tierra de
similar,
Mallorca?
something super similar happens in the Canary Islands. There is like a like a IGP
All
that
the
covers the whole territory,
And I should
called Islas
have,
Canarias.
yeah, I should have asked him. This wine, for example, it could be, I guess, Vino de la Tierra de Mallorca, but instead it's Islas Baleares. So I wonder if there's a shift. Maybe we don't know. Maybe there's a movement now to create this Islas Baleares sort of idea instead of, because Formentera, Vino de la Tierra de Formentera. There's two wineries. It's kind of a bit pointless. So I don't know why. Maybe it's politics, but I should have asked him why it's Balearic Islands VT instead of Mallorca VT.
Would you consider the climate of the Balearic Islands as Mediterranean climate?
I've only been to Mallorca, but it was pretty Mediterranean.
Yeah, it's 16 degrees average temperature
So nice.
during the whole year.
Mallorca
So
is so
imagine
nice.
the winters are.
They don't have winter.
They don't have winter.
What is
it's
winter?
a joke.
It's a joke.
This is not a winter.
People on Mallorca have heard stories
No,
about
it can be
Mediterranean
of
winter.
course, it can be cold and can be very humid, and that combination
You
is
get-
always
On the north of
uncomfortable.
on the north of the island, you get a lot of rain in the mountains compared to in Mallorca. I've not been to Menorca, I've not been to Ibiza, I've not been to Formentera, but in Mallorca, the northern part of the island is all mountains, so a bit wetter there, I guess. The southern stuff where this is from is it's pretty dry, but like
during summer it's hot and dry.
yeah.
The rainy season there is in autumn. It always, affected us the gota fria in the peninsula. It's also, affects that area. The average for raining is 400 millimeters, which is not
Not that much.
Not
at
that
all.
much.
It's really this is as Mediterranean as you could get, basically.
The varieties I have here. I mean, it's a list of Prensal Blanco,
It says our Prensal, yeah.
Parellada Giro Blanco, Moscatel, Chardonnay, Macabeo, but also Cayet, Montenegro, but Fogoneu,
Fogoneo, yeah.
Tempranillo, Monastrell, Cabernet Sauvignon, Gargolasa, Merlot, Syrah, Long, etc.
La Faula.
La Faula.
The new vintage has some of that Gargoyasa in
Oh,
it.
really? I didn't know that.
Another weird local grape, Gargoyasa.
Well, the what you should expect from the reds of this area is precisely this kind of wine. It's more, there is like a little connection, slight link to the profile of Catalan wines.
Well, careful.
No, it's true. I mean, I find more similarities to the wines of Catalonia rather than the wines of Valencia.
Oh yeah, I mean comparatively,
It's like more humid. It has more that touch of humidity that Valencia has not.
Not as heavy and
Yeah.
dark as the
So
peninsula.
I always found that connection in the how they look like each other.
Also, as you saw in the video, Cayet is the Pinot Noir of the Mediterranean. That's what Jans has said. Because they never. I think the islands they're not as hot as the peninsula. So Valencia and Alicante, you can get very intense climate, whereas this Mediterranean islands, it tends to be a bit gentler. And I guess that's maybe why they're more similar to some of the Catalan wines, because Catalonia is a bit gentler. But yeah.
Well, we have mentioned this castle, the castle that brings the name to the
wine.
To the wine, and this castle is located in one of the peaks of the Sierra de Levante, in Felanich. Or Felanic, so it maybe is pronounced. I don't know. And it was built, of course, as we have been doing in Spain always. It's been over an Arab fortification,
Yes.
as in Madrid, as in the rest of Spain. And it's one of those military defense strategic points for protecting the area. And well, what do you think they wanted to be safe from?
I guess. Hang on, who built it originally? The Moors.
The Moors.
So the Moors are probably trying to. That means Mallorca is a very useful point to protect your eastern flank from any invaders. I'm guessing, but it's I don't know. I'm always fascinated by some of these castles, like who just don't go to Falanich. It'll be fine. There's a castle there. I'll go around.
Well, actually, these islands, as all the Mediterranean coast, were very unsafe during the not only the Middle Ages, but even up until the 18th
2
century.
years ago. Oh, right.
Because of the pirates.
Piracy. Our
Yes.
pirates?
Piratas berberiscos.
Berber pirates.
Yes.
Intriguing.
Yes.
That is interesting. Yeah, this is like. I'm kind of annoyed because when I went to Mallorca, I drove right past Manacor, and I was so close to this town. Had I realised, we could have maybe visited and seen it. But what is funny is if you put the Castell de Santueri into Google, it doesn't appear in Google Maps.
Oh, really?
It recognises it as a concept.
Why?
It doesn't show you the address to get there. You have to find it yourself. It's sort of southeast. I don't know, because I think it's a ruin. It's not like a it's not like a. There's no visitors centre and stuff.
You can visit it.
Yeah, but I don't think there's like a visitors centre and toilet. I think it's just like
Alright.
you can visit it, but it's
Oh, really?
it's just there. I think. But yeah, that's quite cool. But what I want to know, and again, another question I should have asked Martin. That is not a castle.
It was like.
It looks like
the front.
the Versailles or something.
Yeah, it's more a palace than a castle.
Yeah, so I have to admit I'm a little bit confused because when I put Castell de Santueri in Google weeks ago, I thought I was going to see like a nice Baroque palace, and it's like, oh, it's a castle. So bamboozled, but yeah.
Well, what do you think about the wine?
Who's drinking this tonight? Who have we got? Eva's got this wine.
Let us know. What do you think?
Oh, look, bees mean honey, and my dad's just thrown my mum under the bus. It was not your dad. That's my mum. Yeah, good stock. Now, while we wait, can I give a few tantalising ideas of what you can expect from the next month's box? So, I have my list.
Actually, we have to confess this month we are still working in some prices with the wineries.
Yeah.
Believe me when I tell you that you are buying really good bargains.
We are being really, as they say in English, we're playing hardball.
Yeah.
So if all goes to plan, or if all goes well, this is roughly an idea of what we want to try. We've got, again, as usual, 2 whites, 3 reds, and a random one. So our random one is a rosé, because it's getting really warm.
Spring is here!
Spring is here! It's lovely outside now. So, instead of like a Tempranillo from Cigales, we found something really cool, which even we have never talked about ever. It's a rosé from Vino de la Tierra de Tres Riberas.
What is that?
This?
What an extravagance! Witchcraft!
And it's signed by a certain Arzak on the back as well.
Oh my god, that sounds
Fancy pants. So we've got a really interesting rosé from a region which we still haven't done a podcast about. Anyway, then we've got a couple of whites. We've got a sensational Riesling from Alicante.
Riesling is a grape that we haven't done yet.
And we fell in love with this wine. We actually fell in love with all of their wines. They had a very nice Viognier.
Is it a sweet wine?
No.
Ooh, then just very confusing.
Yeah. The other white, we're going back to Rioja, but for a really
good reason.
Weird, unknown grape called Maturana Blanca.
And it's very fancy, very cute, lovely, and
More adjectives.
I was going to say a couple of rude ones.
Okay. Effing delicious. And then we're going to move into the reds. Now, I'm very happy with our reds because we got really interesting ones, really interesting areas. So, close to Madrid, there is an area which is really famous now for garnacha, but not in Madrid. It's our mountains, the Gredos Mountains. Like editorials in New York are talking about this is the place to watch, and we've got a really nice high altitude, like 1,200 meter mountaintop vineyard garnacha.
That is high.
That's high. If all goes to plan, we've got a very fancy, very sexy, one of the best reds we've ever had on tastings in the shop, Syrah from Yekla.
Yekla.
It's 16% alcohol, by the way. What? And then my favorite
Do not
one.
smoke next to you.
Make sure you're not driving 2 days later. And then, for me, it's a really elegant wine, a very classy wine, which I checked my Vivino. I had tried it years ago and gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Vivino, which for me is a lot. And it's really elegant, traditional, from a region called Empordà, right up in the northeast of Catalonia on the border with France. And I'm laughing because the name is Finca Espolla. Means
Do not translate.
we'll
that.
talk about that when we get it. So that's our hope.
As
for
you
this
can
box.
see, it's a box, plenty of grapes to explore, regions to explore, but the most important thing, really good wine and really good price.
And we'll have to choose a new prize. So stay tuned over the next few days, probably at the weekend as usual. Before we move into next month, we'll post it and it will be available.
Stay safe, drink wine, and wait for our box to be available by this weekend.
And we hope you enjoyed March.
Yes,
It was a fun box.
it was a very good.
Next box will be kooky. This box was just like every time. There's a fly in my. Okay, go home.
And eat a rope. Bye.
Ciao.